For those of us who might be more anxious or nervous about roleplay at the table, I have a tool for you. My book of roleplay, or RolePlaybook. Consider this like a spell book of sorts, except this contains moves that you can make in roleplay when certain conditions come up. You can break it down level by level. We'll start with easy cantrip roleplay moves that you can pull out in almost any circumstance. But why a roleplaybook? Simply put, anyone who's good at roleplay or improvising moments has their own internal book of things they know work and things they know don't work. So imagine you, as a beginner, are a type of wizard, a roleplay wizard, who's starting with roughly an empty spellbook. You don't know what works and what doesn't work yet. When it comes to roleplay, you might be thinking of players who have years of experience and training, who are doing acting or improv, creating moments at the table that might be comparable to a 5th level spell, which might be too difficult for you to consider doing on purpose now. So I'm here to help, to give you some guidance to populate your own roleplay spellbook. And as you try things, you copy down the techniques that work for you in certain circumstances and for that specific table. And hopefully you reach a point where you can use these tools in roleplay moments as easily as you might say, I cast Fireball. So let's start with the basics. We'll add a few cantrips to your roleplay spellbook. We'll start with 3 that you can use in almost any game and are applicable in many situations. The obvious agree, or saying yes to a plan or quest. As a beginner at the table, one element that's oft forgotten is simply saying yes, vocalizing yes to a plan. Because sometimes someone comes up with a great idea, or maybe we're simply presented with a quest, but we get into an awkward situation of, if we do this, we can win. So is everyone on board? Oh yeah, yes, sure. Which can work for comedic purposes, but if that's not the tone you're going for, then even if it feels like it's obvious, say it, we can win. Yeah, that's all it takes. You can vary this to fit your character and to keep things fresh too. Gronak grunts in agreement. A simple but I suppose effective plan. Very well. Yeah. If you say so. Because from the person pitching the idea, they might not be sure that you're on board. It's just a pitch. And you know how easy it can be to assume the worst of our own ideas, especially when they're met with silence. So regardless of how brilliant the idea was, how obvious it is for you to agree, or how easy it is for us to assume that we're saying yes to the quest, say so. And it'll make the move from question to execution that much smoother. The next roleplay cantrip we're going to talk about is the 3 narrated reactions. Nods, shakes head, shrugs. Roleplay doesn't have to involve a ton of words. We can use narration to illustrate our character's response. For example, Terrence, do you think we should fight? Terrence nods. Do you have a plan? Terrence shrugs. Can't we just run away? Terrence shakes his head. Note that this accounts for our yes or no questions and for any situation where we don't know what to do. And if you start to get more comfortable with roleplay, you can add the crucial element of why. Should we fight? Terrence nods. He wants to defend these people. Do you have a plan? Terrence shrugs. He's not sure what to do, but the usual. Can't we just run away? Terrence shakes his head. He doesn't think we can run anymore. Those 3 things, nodding, shaking your head, and shrugging, narrating that for your character can do a lot of heavy lifting. And you can even add why when you're more comfortable. So these will be at hand, ready for you whenever you need to react to someone. The 3rd roleplay cantrip I'd like to talk about, to add to your roleplaybook, is asking for clarity above table or out of character. If you're a beginner, sometimes you need clarification to make sure something is okay, that we understand the situation, or just to make sure everyone's on the same page. One of the strongest tools you have at your disposal is to pull out of immersion to make sure. Start with above table or out of character, and then add in what you need to check. For example, above table. Did my character hear that from outside? The idea here is that even though we want to maintain immersion, if there's doubt, then we're allowing a small break of immersion here to avoid a more jarring one in the future. Because say that I assume that my character heard, and I act on that information, preparing things, putting things in motion, while the DM has in their head that my character didn't hear. We could end up reaching a climactic point where it's hard to rewind and fix it. So when there's a question of circumstances, uncertainty in the reality of a situation, don't be afraid to ask above table or out of character. And I think that's a pretty good start. 3 roleplay techniques that you can add add to your roleplay spellbook. I'd say these would fit in under cantrips, as they can be useful in most games. And if you want more, whether it be basic roleplay cantrips or something a little more advanced, then please like, subscribe, leave a comment. That will show me and the almighty algorithm that this is valuable, and I'll crank out some more techniques for you. Until next time, stay safe and take care.